That block. All right. It's 4:30 p.m. I call the meeting to order for September 9th, 2024, 4:30 p.m. We don't have a guest tonight. So let's get by number 2. Roll call, please.
Zagami,
Here.
Hubbard,
Here.
Lopes Ferrero.
Here.
Mumber.
Here. Do you have anybody on Zoom?
We got Tanya Westfall with Clark Dietz on Zoom.
Okay. Show anything to?
Oh,
Just listen.
I think just
Okay.
I'm sure she'll speak up if she has something.
Public comment, no public here tonight, no public comment. Item 5, approval of 8/24 Public Work Utility Committee meeting. What's your wishes?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 6, approval of August 2024 water and sewer permit. Do we have to approve that or acknowledge that?
probably just acknowledge, I guess. Maybe I should switch that to acknowledge.
For a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. The staff report, item 7, CIP update. Michael?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it somewhat brief. The Weston Ave Village Project X to Von Kennel is underway. The integrity grading, their subcontractor started the tree clearing and grubbing last week. I'll continue that this week with then probably some pavement removal starting towards the end of this week. So that half mile from Von Kennel to X will be done this year, and then the rest of the way from Von Kennel to Ryan will be a 2025 project. Weston Ave and Alderson Street to Birch. Oh, yep.
That should be when we completed. He's gonna do everything there. Pavement, final pavement.
Yeah.
striping, everything.
Correct. Yeah, there's no water and sewer work there, so it is really just rebuilding the road and regrading the ditches. So Yeah.
And then the schedule for next year project,
as soon as snow melts, they'll get going right away.
is that according to this
That's what they have, yeah,
whole season?
for the most part, yeah, and it's a
Thank you.
fairly good stretch, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the joint project with Rothschild, Tom mentioned the water mains nearly tied in at Birch Street. Road buildings ongoing there between Alderson and Birch. Looks like WPS has some work to get a new gas main in. Is that starting next week?
I talked to him today, actually. We'll in on Thursday it started.
Okay, so we'll get,
Oz is pulling out their pipe crew today, and then their grading crew's coming in tomorrow morning, and then they're just gonna keep working on the road here. So
sure,
WPS should be, they'll start on the west side and then work their way to the east. We should stay out of the business.
yeah, okay. If you haven't been through there, the roundabout is first layer paved, so
So what's the deadline for the
October like 20th. Usually we grab a 25th, I think. Usually we grab that the last Friday.
okay, before snow, please,
Yeah,
hopefully before snow.
should be.
Okay.
And then they'll be starting the water main work on Summit Ave. They said the week of the 16th, so next week. And so that one's ongoing. Frontier has a pole still needing to be removed. But that hopefully happens this week.
Choose it to Verizon.
Yeah. We'll see. East Jelnik, Von Kennel, that one's ongoing. Water mains in, sewers in, lateral connections are kind of progressing from X, heading east towards Kirk Street. And then Melvin will be subcontracting some of the storm sewer installs to McCabe Construction. And they're slated to be in here later this week to start the storm sewer, so. They're getting some additional help to get that project, I guess, to the finish line before winter hits here, so. The regular Jelnik that's paved, there's a few restoration items we're following up on, but for the most part, that one's done. We're going over getting close to 60% plans for Schofield Ave. So right now we're looking at an asphalt roadway going in and removing the concrete, and then got an agenda item on the docket for today to discuss some of the location of pedestrian crossings.
Yep.
Let's see.
We'll talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one when we get to it in a little more detail. Some of the Ross
What's the schedule for this project?
Schofield Ave.
Mhm.
So construction next year. Start. So we'll looking to bid it in February, March, so that the contractor can get going right away.
Probably March of next year.
This coming year, yeah. So this winter. So we'd finalize plans over winter and bid it right away. So again, as soon as weather permits, we can get started on it. I guess Fuller Street would be in the same boat. So got some preliminary design going on with Becker Hoppy. Ike's working on some of the stormwater aspect, and hope to have probably middle of next month our public information meeting with the neighborhood on that one. The Ross Avenue projects, we have to meet with the DOT and before we can start getting into some of the right-of-way discussions on that. So we asked that the main item there at Metro Drive and Ross Ave is figuring out how to place that and the impacts that separate property owners are going to have. So the DOT wants to meet with us first before we discuss anything with the property owners. So trying to get that schedule here quickly so we can keep that moving.
Is that talking to them for purchasing property or?
The initial is kind of trying to figure out how to best place it. I mean, we can place a roundabout and say, okay, we got to buy that house, or we could place a roundabout and we don't have to buy a house, but that tree might be gone or this. So some of it's trying to get a better understanding of what are some of the non-negotiables, or what are people okay with, you know? Is it, I'm okay with sidewalk 20 feet from my house, but not 10 feet from my house, or, you know, trying to fit all those items in without just saying,
DOT, how much DOT has in there? What, 1.5 million?
yeah. So we asked the DOT for some guidance on what can we discuss with the property owners. So they want to meet with us first before we talk to the property owner, so we don't mess up some
Yeah,
legal.
procedure. You wanna use that to.
Yep. Yep.
You wanna miss it, then I could.
Yeah, and we don't want to lose out on $2.5 million. So
Right.
want to make sure we do it correctly. So.
Okay. I didn't hear what you said about the Schofield Avenue in Weston.
Yep. So that one, Chippewa Concrete has indicated starting the last week of September here. So we have a pre-construction meeting with them. I think it's next week, Thursday. But their schedule is pretty quick as far as there's some full depth pavement repairs and then the installation of the signals.
So there's no construction or anything at the section.
There'll be some single lane closures, but for the
Well, you gotta run all those conduits.
the conduit already exists.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a few pavement repairs that we had included, some sidewalk curb ramps, but then for the
So
most
what-
part,
what we put in there is good enough.
Yep, yeah, they're able to reuse that. Uh,
Anything else?
no, the rest is just a lot of percolating projects in the background.
But then also you said about well 7 and 8,
Yeah, so that one's,
that already is it discharging to the system?
yeah, we had a lightning strike there, in July. So
Much damage.
it took out both VFDs, so both wells were down. It was covered by warranty. So well 8 is back running. We kept well 7 disconnected, and WPS is doing a voltage study.
I'm surprised, isn't that grounded system grounded and
It-
everything
it
else?
should be. Yeah, we just want to make sure that there isn't some what they call it, dirty energy. Coming back to it.
What is
Just
that?
if there's not a consistent flow, I guess they can kind of track if there's some odd spikes or if it's dissipating weirdly. I guess there was question with them being kind of remotely underground, if it's something with the grounding issues potentially, in the wells themselves, but
It has to be that, other than that,
yeah,
lightning shouldn't hit it.
I
Yeah,
don't think so.
I mean, I never heard that before, don't get hit with it.
yeah. Well, so
Well, it was like
The
two
building-
phases though, yeah. It was
Yeah.
like one lightning strike over here coincided with the VFD cards getting fried. We got those replaced, and then we were in a meeting here in July, a storm came through. The next day, the VFDs were just done. So I don't know if the second storm actually correlated with that, or this one actually caused something to, just a coincidence that they went out on us that day, or what, but.
yeah, I mean,
So we're gonna make sure we don't have this problem again.
well, that's why we're having WPS check it, and then
So before we go-
AECom's reviewing the electrical too, to just make sure. I mean,
Who did the electric? One heard?
well, contractor was Econ Electric, but AECom was the designer as part of the well. Well, so we're diving into everything to make sure.
Short in the short some.
Yeah, yes, somewhere something,
There's nothing a lightning rod.
no, yeah,
I mean, I would move more towards the
Yeah.
install. and-
So that's why we only have one of them out. We didn't wanna put them both back, and if there's another storm issue, now we get them both fried again, so.
yeah.
Just to see my, I mean,
It's the same reason though the audio in this room right now isn't working, and that TV, there's something that happened along this corridor earlier this summer that some items seem to be a little more sensitive to that. I don't know how to.
Well, today, even if you put the light post in there is a ground rod at the bottom, that's the first thing they do, they put in the ground.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, like I said, and it wasn't the whole building that got fried. It was one element out there, or 2 elements, I guess, out there. So I mean, other items still were working. Pumps were still okay. It just the VFDs for whatever reason took a hit.
Did something with our fiber line.
Well, now you're onto something maybe.
The heck?
Okay.
so what's named the contractor is out, you got paid 100% is out, right?
There's still some retainage.
For it goes. I thought you negotiate with us and.
Yeah, sometimes or are they in warranty? I don't think the final pay application has actually been submitted.
Well, you should hold the money for electrician, electrical. They gotta fix it.
Yeah, well, I guess part of it's trying to figure out what happened. Yeah,
I mean, they're not gonna fix it for us. They may find the problem, but they're
Yeah.
not gonna repair it.
no, I guess that's what we're trying to figure out is what actually caused the problem? Was it a grounding issue? Was it just an act of God that, it's gonna happen hopefully only once ever? And it just happened, yeah. So, but
All right,
anywho.
so you said you use the water, we use the water right now.
Correct, yeah, well 8 is running, and we're using the water from it.
You know how many gallons a day we use from that well?
I don't, well.
Here, it's in your report.
Yeah.
yeah, as I say, it's in the,
Yeah, it is, but
68, like 6.8 million for the month of August.
And it still is good quality, what we find there in the.
Yeah.
Design.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so pretty much equal to what Blado Well is putting out. Except for that downtime in July.
My other comment was, do we need to continue to negotiate agreements with the town? Or is that,
Oh, I haven't finalized. Yeah, that's still an ongoing,
my question was, what would it be as well?
well, for now there is.
There will be for the foreseeable future, yeah.
That one's kind of a placeholder too.
Okay, is there anything else, Michael? Who's gonna talk about the wells and defense? Are you handling that, Josh?
Oh, the PFAS.
Yeah, I guess I can. Well, for treatment plant work is, August winter, the granular activated carbon tanks should be delivered around Thanksgiving, is what we were told, last week here, so, once they're here, we can get going on that. And then the well 3 pilot for iron manganese was completed, final report submitted, so now we can, get going on our safe drinking water loan for well 3, since we have that, information back and can justify to the DNR why that, part of the project should be included with the emerging contaminants funding.
Ryan Street, that station?
Yeah, we just have some site work left, on the village side to finish up there, but the contractors are done. So later this month, we should be getting Ryan Street graded and paved. And then, Trotzer's getting, some landscaping put in for screening from the neighboring properties.
Okay. And then Cedar Creek Interceptor, that's a lifetime project.
That is a lifetime project. I met with Catherine from MSA earlier today. We're still, Weston Ave is our #1 priority for right of way, and that's kind of been the focus for the past year or so. We got another half mile of right of way taken care of, or quarter mile, this morning with a property owner, and hopefully we're nearing the end of the Weston Ave right away, and we can then shift gears to working on this project.
Any questions for Michael? You're gonna get later on. Okay,
Forest.
street operation update. Item 8.
You don't have to follow along. You can just say whatever you feel like.
Just going ahead and put the overlays that we had coming up, from the neighborhoods listed. We got all our work done, we're waiting on RC Hayward to come in. They finished today in the Chadwick, Thomas County area. They got the overlays done there. Tomorrow starting on their overlay project. And then moving out to the Country Creek Siberian area.
Do we back charge when they TDS or whoever force through a snow suit?
Yes.
Yes, we back.
Yeah, we keep track of our hours, equipment time, and any material costs. Send them a bill. We touch base with them ahead of time, just saying, hey, FYI, we found that you drilled through this line, and get that acknowledged before we go make the repair. But
Yeah, they make you wait in hold for 40 minutes.
we know a few guys on the.
You're pretty good at work, so call them up, they come snap their pictures. We can get it repaired within about 20 minutes.
This was an interesting one where I think anytime it rained, all of a sudden it was like a little geyser that was popping up through this person's front yard.
So what is this pipe? That's a 4-inch pipe, what is it?
That's a 6-inch, it looked like to be an old storm sewer pipe. Don't know exactly where it actually starts from. It runs through this person's yard, but it connects into our storm sewer. So it must have been an old storm sewer in that area, up in Normandy foothill, in that area there. So it's coming down the hill. I couldn't find where the inlet was on it, but every time it rained, that thing would fill up and just boil out of the ground.
So there's no wastewater in this place?
No, that's also,
That's for sure.
yes.
So I see you repair this and just have it there for that rainwater or?
Yeah, it's connected into our storm sewer.
That's disconnected.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so the TDS line is running parallel to our storm sewer, so this is a perpendicular to kind of right, almost at a T.
So what's the red pipe over it?
That's the TDS line. That's the fiber
That's a
line.
conduit.
That's the conduit for it. Yeah,
That's pretty small.
yeah, it's only what, an inch?
Yeah.
2 inch?
Yeah. And actually just bring this up, Frontier, their sub went through the underground too. So that's exposed.
Okay.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, we had one of our crew members formerly worked for Wassa Concrete. Is that the right name? County Materials. So he kind of came up with the repair solution on this one, kind of using some wire mesh and almost rebuilding the pipe in place. So that was, yeah, it's nice having people with varied experiences and being like, hey, I know what we can do here.
So did he put the rebar across and put the rubber mesh around it?
The wire mesh is wrapped around the actual pipe and then, concrete over the top of the wire mesh.
There is no rebar.
There's no reason.
Okay, thank you. Question? No? All right. Item 9, utility operation update, Josh.
Yeah, water side of things, handful of kind of miscellaneous well repairs on some pumps and leaks. Michael touched on our iron manganese pilot study. I think we owe a meeting with Brian and the boys over at Water Surplus. We were supposed to do them last week, but we'll meet with them to discuss findings. We drained down and cleaned one of our towers over in the business park. Currently doing some measurements for our retrofit hydrants to get some of our 2 nozzles retrofitted to 3 nozzles. Completing some of our larger meter testing, continuing with some EPA, PFAS sampling. Michael touched on most of the road projects that we have going on. Sewer side, some lift station cleaning, some general maintenance items. Sewer jetting is still going. Hopefully approaching the end of that stuff. A couple other repairs as part of that cleaning for the back truck. Got up to some of our bad spots, continuing some pH probe data collection. Fiber optic, our SCADA system, we're making some progress, I think, with our kind of remote sites that use our AT&T. Apparently at the outset, it wasn't set up with the correct business account, so then they had to kind of reorder our cards, whatever they are that you put in SIM cards. We had to get new SIM cards. They had to build a new network. So we actually are apparently discussing things with the proper people within AT&T so that we're part of kind of a first net communication lines instead of just a regular business cell communication. We have stuff that police and fire get. So anytime there's an issue, we'll have, we won't get slowed down. We'll kind of be prioritized for any kind of issues that our remote lift stations are going to be alarming out. So that's at least making progress. It should be, they said, a couple weeks. I don't really understand how things just take a couple weeks all the time, but they said a couple weeks. Diggers tickets are still coming in.
It's trying.
not a new thing, we're just trying to start up once in a while.
No, I thought I turned that off.
Work orders, bunch of work orders that Stacy's keeping us busy with. I guess we've touched on kind of our contract work with well 3. Cary Well and Ladle Well should be getting ready for their rehabs. Cary has a shutdown plan for next week. So we're kind of piggybacking the Cary rehab starting next week. And the only other things, hydrant painting was completed, and I mentioned sewer jetting. So then, other than that, we have our customers, the water pumps, our wastewater hours, and our wastewater flows.
No leak spots.
Leaks on what?
On the sewer.
No.
Question? No? Okay. Policy discussion and recommendation, item 10, 2025 sanitary sewer utility rate increase. Okay, Michael.
All right. So last year, the Rim Mountain Metro Sewerage District announced that they're going to be increasing rates for 2024 as they were taking on their phosphorus removal upgrades. And I believe all of the neighboring communities, Corona, Wetter, Mosney, Rim Mountain, Rothschild, that also flow there, increased their rates last winter. We kind of discussed taking a wait and see approach just to see exactly what percentage would work, and we had some fund balance in the sewer utility, so wasn't urgent that we increase it immediately. Overall, it is about a $650,000 increase that Rim Mountain Metro is, I guess, projecting for Weston here in 24 as well as future years. They roughly needed $20 million, which equated to $1 million a year, essentially, for their loan over the next 20 years. And we're about 60% of the flow, so we get $600,000 in round numbers a year added to what we were paying. So we are running at a deficit of about $282,000 currently as of the end of July. So not quite 300,000, but it's also not the end of the year either. So I guess to break even, it appears we'd probably need about a 20% rate increase. I generally, usually we look at what our neighboring communities are at. So we're currently the third lowest, using a 12,000 gallon average residential bill. So a Weston customer currently would pay $74.40. If you just increase it by a straight 20%, that takes you to $89.28, which still puts us in third. We don't go to fourth or fifth. We still stay where we are ranking wise, but it is about a $15 a quarter or $5 a month increase, I guess, for a 12,000 gallon bill. My family of 4, we were about 16,000 gallons, so it might vary per family, but 12,000 has usually been what we have used historically as a average residential bill. And then graphically, same thing. I guess when we look at rate increases, there's always the question of do you increase just across the board, base rate, volume rates, you make them equal? Do we look at keeping the base rate at a lower increase and then the volume charge? For this one, the main rate increase is because of the cost of the treatment facility, which is based on flows. So maybe it makes more sense to have a larger emphasis on the flow rate cost versus the base charges. But we also haven't increased our sewer rate since 2017. So, I mean, base charges or the infrastructure, costs have gone up. So just maintaining, a manhole or, a a section of Maine has increased over the years too. So there's probably some justification for at least increasing some of that base fee, which is really there to establish this is the system you can use, and then the more you use the system, you know, the more we have to pay the treatment plants for that use. Hopefully I didn't botch that too badly as I tried to explain it there. So I guess I had one option where you just go 20% across the board. One where we say it's a 5% base increase, and you know that then is about a 32% increase on the volume charge, or the average volume charge was about 38 to 18. So if we take the base rate at $38, that's about a 15% increase there, and then the volume charge would be a 24% increase. So with that, I don't know. I just curious what questions, feedback.
I guess when I read this, I said, you're doing an expansion project for phosphorus removal. Did they not remove that previously?
Yeah, so a lot of the DNR clean water, phosphorus removal has become a huge focus for especially the Wisconsin River. So if you remember our stormwater side of things, we now fall under the phosphorus removal requirements for stormwater. Yeah, so the wastewater treatment plants fell into the same category. So when that ruling kind of came through, they had, for the most part, you get your first permit renewal cycle to come up with your plan, and then your next permit renewal cycle, you got to start showing what steps you're taking to meet that new requirement. So I think it was about 2018-ish, probably when they first had that first renewal of, yeah, we need to do these updates, and we were kind of waiting on them to decide how much that was going to cost and what that was going to look like.
So I guess my take was, I said, if this is new, which it sounds like it is.
Yeah.
And I said, it benefits everyone, no matter how much you call it.
Correct.
I mean, before you had it, now you don't.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, to me, my personal thing was, I said, this is much more of an infrastructure related than a per gallon usage related. Right.
Yeah, I mean, the way Remote Metro bills us is based on our flow. So if we flow 1 million gallons to them, we get billed for 1 million gallons. If we flow 2 million gallons, we get billed based on 2 million gallons. So then when we send out the bills to our residents, they get a base fee plus then their volume used. So the more we use, the more the wastewater treatment plant bills us. So
No, understood.
Yeah.
I just said whether I use 1 gallon
True.
or 1,000 gallons every week.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody got that benefit. And I don't know how everybody else feels. I just felt it was more, to me, more to the infrastructure than how much you're using.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
So, but the steelworks 20%, that gives you $494,880.
Yeah.
Where's the rest of it, up to $600,000?
Well, I guess that's where I said, like, kind of where we're at July, we're at about 20% of where we need. I think when I checked August, and we were actually only at about a 16% difference. So, I mean, it is going to fluctuate a little bit. And Remote and Metro, they base their fee, and it's all projected. We get billed on what actually occurs. So at the beginning of the year, they project, hey, we think Weston's going to send us 5 million gallons of water. And if we only send them 4 million, then we get billed for 4. But if we send them 6, we get billed for 6. So they set their budget based on a projected flow. And from what I can tell, it doesn't look like we're going to meet the flow that they were projecting, which isn't uncommon for them. It's not a perfect science. If you talk to Jessica, one of the frustrations is the rate with Remote Metro changes annually, and they're constantly changing it based on a speculative guesstimate of what the flow is going to be. and where their cash flow balance is, so, so we're kind of always chasing this, sewer rate.
How accurate they are with that
It,
statistic, but they use it,
yeah, it's,
because there's no guarantee he's gonna get the full what he's estimating,
yeah,
because it's based on the population fluctuations.
yeah.
Is the population gonna meet that flow? If it doesn't meet, then what happened? And then if we get extra money, what are you doing with the money?
Well, that's been another conversations we've had with them based on, the increases and how the rate structure should have been changing over the last few years, not,
Well, you put pressure on our citizens.
Yep.
That's important to make sure. We wanna pay our share.
Yep.
There is no argument on that, but we wanna pay fair share.
Yeah.
Don't overcharge us and not bundle reserve money sitting in there because someday you may need it.
yep, and they do, so that's the thing with the, if they have fund balance, then the next year they will assume they're getting less revenue from us and they'll lower. And then like our rates, we try to keep pretty steady. Rimount Metro's rates, look like a heartbeat. It's up and down, up, down, up, down every year. Sometimes it's up, up, and then it's down, 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 then up, down. So it,
You know, a lot of them.
they can, it's just, I don't know.
Oh, you're crazy.
Yeah. You know, so, and then
Did
the,
you say they had an opening?
yeah, so the comment we always get back is, you know, you guys are your own utility, you can set your rates however you want, and
Yes, I don't know if you
Yeah.
have any, for this all. How long have you been in this agreement with them?
since the plant was built in 84, 85, something like that.
And I'm sure you don't know these numbers, back in 84, 85, I'm assuming Weston was not 60%, they were probably 20%, or 25.
Mosinee and Cronenweider wouldn't have contributed yet, so,
Because our population used to be 12,000 population until Rothschild took 4,000 off and we dropped to 8,000. But that population is quite out by the way significantly the same rate.
Well-
In no time, we went back to 12,000.
the,
My point was just, when you start hearing that you're 60%, and I know from the meetings you've had with the whole area, we're supposed to be the vast majority of the growth over through 2040 or whatever they projected out.
yeah,
So that 60% is likely to become north of 60, right?
Yeah.
And at some point, this is just my big picture thing, says, do you look at saying, you need to be in that agreement? Because if you're the biggest participant, maybe you should be running the show and everybody else should be coming to you.
yeah,
Wastewater treatment.
You know,
couple,
I mean, it's a very long
Can't
term.
cross my mind.
yeah,
It's just a very big picture, long-term thing, but I mean, I sat back and I looked at it and said, at some point, you know, if you're the 98-pound gorilla,
yeah,
you know, instead of going there begging for a refund, you go there and say, maybe we're just gonna take you guys off.
yeah.
That's a board issue, right? But I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the logistics of trying to reroute interceptor sewers and, I mean, it'd be a very capital intensive project. I don't know how feasible that would be, but, definitely something we can, yeah.
it seems like there's kind of continuous frustration with them.
It's,
It seems
I
like
think we can do stuff on our end though, more sewer lining and maintenance, and we can reduce some infiltration and flow. We can spend dollars that way to kind of help us maybe with the flow that they see at the plant.
yeah, and even the next item on the agenda, you know, the televising, you know, as the guys are out jetting, they're noting, hey, there's a lot of sediment here, it looks like a lot of grease is coming in here, so being able to pinpoint where that's coming from. We do have the ability in our sewer ordinance to place surcharges on dischargers that are exceeding what a reasonable amount of suspended solids and BOD is. So if we can do that, we can start, you know, passing the buck along to the person who's causing that, not spreading it out amongst the whole utility, but the handful of people that are causing that issue, so. Yeah, I mean, or siding or paint or whatever metal manufacturers out there that's, an oil change if somebody's, I mean, we find a lot of stuff, or there's a white goo the guys found that they assume is drywall, and sometimes that comes and goes as remodeling done or a housing project, and then all of a sudden it's gone for a while, so we just need to be able to prove where it came from versus we found it in a lift station and there's 500 customers that contribute to it, so.
I think, the other issue that was offered as treatment. Charter change.
Yeah,
Is 5% of the base and the rest owned by value, about 15%.
That's what I would.
Yeah.
Figure that.
I would say that.
You be charged on your volume instead of, most of it on base fee, the base fee would only go up 5%. The remaining would go on whatever you use.
That's a user fee, I think.
Right, I mean, if somebody doesn't use it, I mean, they shouldn't be getting charged extra.
yeah, and that's a big thing in the utility world is trying to make sure we're not pricing out people by right, like the guarantee is the base fee, if you charge the base fee, you're gonna get that every month or quarter, but at the same time, is that right? If somebody isn't using it to the same extent, are they
Well, that's a
being
user
overcharged?
fee.
Yep,
We don't use
correct.
it, it should be a user fee. and
Yeah.
continue that.
Yep,
So, what's your wishes? Unless there's more discussion here.
I'm good. I don't know if I actually put a motion in there because I wasn't sure what anybody would say.
I propose the base one.
I'll make a motion to, increase by 20%, including 5% base fee and the remainder to be on usage fee.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Does that make sense, Michael, what we're proposing?
Yeah, it's the middle option here. So, so the base fee would on a residential house, which is what these are based off of, would go up to $34.65, and then a volume charge would be $4.55 per thousand, where we're currently at $3.45. So the usage charge would go up $1, essentially $1.10, right? Or just $1.55. $1.10 per 1,000 gallons, so.
The system's supposed to work based on the user fee. And why use 100,000 gallon, I gotta pay for 100,000 gallon. Using 10,000 gallon, you pay for 10,000. So I think it's just a fair system, as we should. If there is no other discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it, thank you. Okay, item 11, replacement sewer televising camera. You have a picture of this?
I don't, I can quickly grab a picture of a.
See what kind of camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing ever loads when I want it to. Oh. Picture here. I was trying to see, I thought one would pop up there, or I'll just go to their website. TSS.
Is that mounted to the back truck or is that a separate?
It'd be a separate unit.
Yeah, so it's
It's got-
forward down.
yeah.
Yeah, so we currently have a 1986, I think it's an old bread truck, that we have our current sewer camera in. And with our latest utility van replacement, we put the camera system in one of the utility vans we're rotating out, and then put it in that one instead. So it'd be in the back of a Ford Transit instead of a almost 40-year-old vehicle that doesn't steer well or have good brakes.
So, Mike, what's
Yep.
the size of the sequence to the whole panel pipe? You can go to. all
It can go to all size, and it's got a
6 and larger?
yeah, you can get a lift kit for it, so you can move it up and you televise storm sewer with it. And so the hose reel, everything gets mounted in the van, you disconnect it, and then put the camera in. Then it comes with the software package, and so the prices for everything, the camera, the hose reel, the software, and storage, the cloud storage for it. And then, like I said, when we clean, televise, when we jet a sewer, it's always been a question of, are you truly cleaning it? And until you can see it, you're not sure if you're actually cleaning it. We also have requirements where we need to start marking our sewer laterals. Our sewer laterals, we don't, for the most part, have those marked in any way, shape, or form. So being able to measure out where the sewer laterals are, and get all that documented and put in our GIS software. Really, it's trying to figure out where are our leaks, where are cracks, what needs to be lined, where's our inflow infiltration, so we can limit that. And if we are seeing paint or grease, a lot of sediment in the sewer pipe when we're cleaning, we can go back and figure out what lateral that's coming out of, and get that tested and taken care of at the spot, instead of trying to go back and guess where it's coming from. Because whenever you contact somebody, they always say, it's not me. Are you sure you haven't checked that guy across the street? Also part of our sewer maintenance program, we always state we want to televise about 1/6 of the system, which comes out to about 15 miles. If we pay somebody, if we try to contract that out, I think it was somewhere around $200,000 a year is what we'd have to budget for televising. And we do, this year it's been, we've televised Fuller Street ahead of that capital project. We televised East Jelnik. And then any other time we wanted to televise, the camera was generally broke. I think I noted in here, we currently have a flashlight mounted to our current camera, just because we needed it to work. I think it's got electrical tape on it.
We gotta televise that too, don't they?
Yeah, and you have to televise backwards because forwards doesn't currently work on the camera. So our current camera is just getting to a point where every time we take it out, some of the guys describe it as an antique snowmobile. We use it for a half mile of pipe, and then it's in the shop for the next month getting repaired, so we can go get the rest of the pipeline inspected that we're trying to get done. So.
I'm sure you're wasting a lot more time.
Well, that's the worst. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can, by the time because we try to jet the line clean before we televise, so that anything that is hung up, so we go jet the line, get the camera down there just to find out, okay, now the camera's not working, or the light isn't working, or doesn't want to go forwards. We can go in reverse, but not forwards. Yeah, that's been a frustration throughout the summer. So we did add the sewer camera to the CIP, and had the guys start getting demos and seeing what products are out there and which ones they like, and what everybody else in the area is kind of using, and what the pros and cons are of the other cameras out there.
It's part of the reviews.
It would not be. It's part of our capital, you know. We had, trying to think, I was here when we bought our last camera. So within the last 15 years, we bought the last camera, but at that time it was it did its job. It was used, and now it's just time kind of to cycle it out for the next one.
So we pay 5,000 extra, just because they like it, or it's worth it to do that?
Yeah,
Why don't you explain it?
yeah, it's really the controls, and the fiber optic cable, versus a coax cable. The guys thought it was built stronger. And just kind of talking to other municipalities or sewer utilities that have this brand and the other one we got a quote on, and some of the other ones that, they just felt the service and, reliability of this camera would make up for that difference in cost.
You said also there's a,
Yeah, I mean, just having the lifting pole and some of the way the crane is located, they're not bending down, having to lower it. They can lower it with there's a built-in winch. I'm sure we could get a winch on the other one, but then that's a extra cost that's not quoted on there. So.
The other one is just,
Yeah,
the other one's manually, you have to drop in.
correct, yeah. And then manually too, you run the risk of all of a sudden you got, slippery gloves or something, and all of a sudden you drop it and there goes your camera face first into the bottom of a manhole, so.
Anything else? What's the existing camera? What brand is that?
It is an Aries. It was the brand that Envirotech carried at the time, so Envirotech no longer carries that brand. I'll say they chose to stop carrying the brand, I guess.
So it wasn't really a way of planning.
Yeah.
We should give our money back to everybody.
I mean, our existing camera is probably 8-9 years old, and it doesn't operate in ideal conditions, so I think it's probably about
So then what are we
lifespan.
gonna do with that old one?
We can try to sell it. I'm sure
Sure.
somebody out there will buy it, or
I'm sure they put here, then they put it work.
yeah.
Okay. Sure, any question?
I'll move to recommend the board for the purchase of the AdX sewer camera from Envirotech for $166,167.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? No discussion? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you very much. Item 12. Do I have some truck updating for?
Yep. So roughly a little over a year ago, we approved a replacement plow truck replacement kind of a swap loader truck that would replace several of the existing trucks in our fleet. Finally got a build date on that truck now. Apparently, if you have an Allison transmission, they're not just flying off the assembly line right now. So everything was backed up about a year. So now we've got a truck that should be getting built here over winter, and so we got quotes from 3 of the local truck builders to kind of, once that chassis gets delivered, put the swap loader system on it and get a plow wing and V-box, all associated hydraulics, and then the rest of the attachments we have currently, like the leaf vac, the snow boxes, the dump boxes, the flatbed attachment, they would all be interchangeable with this truck, as well as the 2 chassis we currently have with that system. So, so this would include the dual right-hand steering. So for leaf pickup, we use the right-hand steering, so the operator can see what they're doing outside their door. And I guess, we'd be adding, yeah, the pre-treatment, tanks for the salt brine. So we don't have a high volume tank at the moment to do that. So we did get 3 quotes, truck equipment, Scott's Heavy Truck and Monroe Truck. Monroe Truck was the lowest, but the staff recommendation is to go with truck equipment. The main difference is Monroe uses only Monroe plows. They don't put on universal plows, which all of our other plow trucks have. So our mechanic staff prefers to try to keep everything the same for parts inventories, and also if for some reason there's a chassis down and another truck would be available, you can hook up to that other one and go instead of having kind of a custom plow for just the one truck. Or even if this one plow had an issue, you could grab a plow from one of the other trucks if need be. So by having that versatility in the fleet, you're not reliant on one small thing putting a whole piece of equipment down for the day. So
what about the Scott? What's the Scott for?
Scott was 264
Right.
versus truck equipment, which was 248. So Scott's and truck equipment were the same, same equipment, same brands.
But still just,
Just higher, labor cost, some of that is factored into their quotes.
did we budget for this truck?
It's part of our capital borrowing coming up.
So we didn't budget.
It's in the CIP. We haven't borrowed for it yet, but it is in the CIP.
That's your wishes. Staff recommendation is using truck equipment to operate the truck and add the dual steering fund.
I'm going to recommend those for approve the getting in the truck equipment for $248,512. I'm also recommend approval of the steering up and contain going cost of $22,000.
Question. So that 22,000 is extra to that 248.
Yeah, so take it to about 270. So Fontaine is the only place we can find that provides the dual steering anymore. Monroe used to provide it, they no longer do. So if we want dual steering, that's kind of the one place we need to go. And then I guess, yeah, I had,
So the total is 270,612.
yeah. I should add that in there.
We mind adding it?
No, just amend the motion to say for a total cost of $270,612.
Yes. So first we're gonna move, vote on the amendment. So all in favor of the amendment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Now we vote on the original motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 13. The Schofield Avenue, northerly to Bridge Street, pedestrian crossing location.
Yep.
You bring that map up for us,
Yeah.
please?
Yep, so as part of the Schofield Ave reconstruction next year, it was discussed in the proposals and in our TIF project plan and Schofield Ave corridor plan about improving pedestrian crossing through this corridor. We have the 3 signalized intersections at Alderson, kind of Target, Ace, Pick and Save, and then at Birch Street. And we currently have 1 push button activated crossing at Fox Street, but those posts are more or less hidden by elm trees currently. So we're looking to add more of the trombone over lane arms for the rapid flashing beacons for some of those unsignalized intersections. So Fox Street we propose would go back in place, and then the question really is what do we want to do between Normandy Street and Alderson? You know, is it one crossing in the middle? So we have three proposed locations in there. One's right at Normandy. The second one's kind of right by Wiggly Field, a little east of Pine Street. And then the third one somewhere in that Cutoff Road, kind of Cherry Street, Willow Street area. So I guess just, and then the fourth one's Fox Street, but Fox Street's existing and we'd just put that back with a little better
So
signage.
all these stop line, they have a push button.
We would be putting push buttons at the stoplights.
Yes.
Currently, yes, and those will get push buttons moving forward.
Okay,
Does it track, like, does that one on Fox Street track off and it gets used?
I doubt it.
I'm just curious. I've never crossed this thing as a pedestrian before.
Yeah,
okay.
I've driven down it a million times. I don't think I've ever walked across it. When I read this, I went, I just don't even, like,
Actually, there are people, they don't cross the road.
so, yeah.
They stop.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a problem. I sat back and went, threw my hands up and went, I don't know, I never walked across it.
Yeah.
Okay, the one you have at Normandy, that's all right because of post office.
I do see the one by the bank people cross sometimes. Like it's just.
Well, the one he got by the local credit union, that's not a good location because the exit from the bank is located there.
yeah. So I mean, these are kind of general. So I guess we're looking for any input
Right.
you have. So if you want to move it west, east, or just say
Yeah.
we don't need 3 there, we only want 2, or
I suggest we move that one to Pine Street because the only housing, I assume that building is Habitat for Humanity, right?
yeah, this one's Habitat for Humanity right
Okay.
here.
We put them in there because behind that, there is some orderly housing in there. Those people walk. They got to, I know for sure, one lady said, I can't cross the road to go over there to my nail. So I don't go there. So, and also she complained when she wants to cross, nobody stopped for her. So I think we put them by Pine Street, that should be helping,
Okay, so you'd move this back right at the intersection.
correct?
Yeah, our one thought was maybe moving it away from the intersection would get it out of turning traffic and but maybe that,
Well, here's this, if they come from that Pine Street, they
Yep.
come to Scotia. Now they gotta go east or west,
correct,
and they want a place to cross.
yes.
You think,
Yeah, I guess, so we got these offset intersections here, so Cherry Street is here, and that's only south, Pine Street only goes north. And we got
Where he-
Pine Park here
yeah,
to the
where
south,
he has it right now is a busy place, because they come out of the bank and they take a right turn,
okay,
so
so you'd put it back at Pine Street,
I would say yes,
okay,
because they already crossing in there also.
sure.
The second thought is, are we gonna redevelop that easy street? That,
Big
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, and it,
Yes,
does that factor into this discussion at all? I'm just raising it as a possibility. If it's right at that intersection.
yeah,
That's.
Which-
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
so like Luis, I think it was brought up at the Clips meeting. Is that one over by St. Anne's? I mean, that's a similar crossing, maybe. I mean, like, so side street traffic. Do you see issues with them turning into it as it's flashing or? Cause I mean, realistically, it's, what, a 10-15 seconds to let somebody get across the road. And we could even make it so. We got the islands there, so there's some island refuge, that we'd build in. That's why I kind of liked the clip art schematic of it, you know, trying to make it so maybe it, you know, you get one direction and then you have another push button that you'd hit for the other direction. That is way zoomed in, sorry. Or you just activate both sides right away. I guess both of those are options.
probably
Both sides right away. Yeah. Okay. All right, so,
And then the other one, you got them at cutoff road.
yeah,
You get the cutoff road they use for coffee. People, they go to that coffee place.
yeah,
Caribou, is that correct?
Caribou Coffee is right
Yeah.
there, yeah. I mean, part of it was just trying to space it, you know, I don't know if we necessarily,
So those are their pizza,
Yeah.
the pizza place and the haircut, I mean, those are all heavy retail,
yeah,
with a wattage, you know.
Yeah, that's the only one I'd like to see move.
okay,
Like, because I know that traffic out of them could be a lot, depending upon the time of day. At noon, they're busy, and also in the morning, also they're busy,
sure.
and at the end of the day.
Are you talking more like broke up?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is it better to have it right near it or have them get a chance to accelerate?
Yeah, so I guess that's probably a good point too.
Crosswalk is right there, they see the flashing, don't turn, otherwise you turn.
Right. There isn't much room, I suppose, to go east, because then you have that strip mall and all of that, their driveways lay up there. If you brought it a little bit to the east, then you kind of having space a little better, but
Yeah, there's kind of this really just big, no island area, which maybe we build in
you could build a small one.
a
just
small
for-
island right in the middle there
just for the
too.
crossing.
Yeah,
Because by Pine Street already, there's a crossing and there's an island.
there is, yeah. And yeah, I mean, this thought was, it's just on the other side of the island, so it gets you a little closer to, which one is that? Is that Cherry? Yeah, Cherry Street over here. It was trying to service more than one road with each one, but, and if you like the way it looks, just moving Pine Street, that's,
I would say it's getting more used by those people in the back there.
I mean, is the cutoff road one good, or is that maybe one we try to move west a
I don't know,
little?
we can go closer to the other one, maybe
So maybe move,
more to the west of that.
look at moving this more
Yeah, because really,
That
you're
way.
not very far away from.
Alderson here, yeah,
Yeah, because, yeah. Mhm. How about we put them right in the middle between Alderson and Pine?
yeah, that was kind of the thought here. So you're thinking something,
Then the access points for the firehouse, all that's right there.
it's gonna be right in here somewhere.
You see that, party fracture in there?
Yeah,
I'm not sure people walking through that parking continuously where they go. But I have seen quite a few people.
coming from
going through
the,
Traffic.
from cutoff road on the back, north side of
No,
that?
They cut through that chiropractor parking.
Yeah, from the north side, or the south
Right.
side going north, or,
Yeah, they go through that parking and they go to the backside.
yeah, and there's apartment buildings on the backside on cutoff, and, you know, if somebody maybe lives on the south side of Schofield Ave and they work at Green Heck or Merrill Iron Steel, something like that, I mean, that'd be a way to quickly get through there too without having to go all the way around, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cut through to cut off,
Big speed bumps in there, so.
yeah,
So maybe it's better to move a little bit more to the west.
okay. So try to move this one west, closer to Cherry Street here. And then move this over to Pine.
Yeah.
So Cherry Street's here, it's currently by Willow, so we move that closer to Cherry. And then move this one back to Pine Street.
Yeah.
Okay,
And you kind of stay equally, almost equally.
and then I guess the other question is then at any other crossing, would we just remove those crosswalks? And to kind of try to discourage people, or do you still leave a crosswalk? Say at Pine Park here?
You
I
know,
would-
if it is like that, people don't stop here.
Yeah.
In the bigger city, you stay on the curb, people stop.
Mhm.
In here, when they see you're on the curb, they speed up.
Yeah.
I would eliminate it myself, just funnel people down to the.
Just direct
Flashing
people to the
beacons,
beacons and, okay,
Then people that driving are gonna be used to, this is where they be crossing, instead of having other ones. come
Yeah.
through between.
yeah, if somebody wants to jaywalk and cut through those,
It's not like they have to walk.
yeah, I guess, yeah,
People aren't gonna use it.
I'll use an example of something I see quite often. If you're driving in the city of Wausau, there's a really nice flashing pedestrian crossing right by the police department and the apartment building there. And just up the road is a quick trip, and people cross from quick trip all day long instead of walking down to the lighted things. So it is difficult to try to get people, like force people to go where it's safer.
yeah.
But I do think like, hey, having these options where people know it's a lot easier to cross the street is smart. It's hard, you can do your best to make it
Yeah.
safe.
So, yeah, then you say take up the rest of.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Sure.
It's not like you need to walk. You
Yeah.
have those space like that. They're pretty close to that.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, between the lights and the additions.
so I guess then a question comes, do you keep Normandy? Or do you say the lights are right here at Business 51?
No, keep the Normandy.
Keep Normandy, okay,
Because, people crossing in there, they go to Walgreens and also they go to post office.
yeah. I was just thinking, if you're coming from Pine Street already, you just cross at Pine instead of walking west and crossing at Normandy.
You do have a point, because how much residential is there past?
It's a residential behind that bank, behind the broker.
That's,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but so if those people are coming down on Pine Street and we have a crossing at Pine,
Right,
and so they would just come on the south side then and versus staying on the north side and then using the Normandy Street crossing, I guess is my only question.
I don't think it's necessary, so. It'd be about equally spaced the way it would be right now, if you move those other two to the west, that distance from Pine to.
Yeah.
The lights there by Walgreens isn't much different.
you could take it off.
Okay. And it's not like these are, how do I wanna put it? We can always put one in, I guess. I just don't wanna, put it in. And then also we find that, nobody's using it because they're just jumping across the road, but, we do wanna try to steer them towards the safer crossings.
Reach Normandy, since it goes all the way to Gelman.
Wow, that's the other one. I'm just trying to think of where people are going and coming.
I'm just thinking for school kids, if they're walking down the sidewalks, any of those other ones have any sidewalks?
That's true. Normandy is the one sidewalk that connects all the way down to Jelnik.
Yeah, but the other thing in Normandy is people go to post office, they don't come back to Scotia Avenue to go to Business 51. They go to jail and then they go to Business.
Yeah.
I was talking to the rest of us, see if we can add something other places. Because we go east. There is only one crossing by Fox Street, that's it.
Yep.
But you got stop
We got the,
stoplight by the like Ace Harbor.
Yep.
And then the next one is that we spoke about at the Bridge Street.
Yeah.
That one crossing in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, that one just seemed like it was a little better. That one's kind of set, that corridor, I feel like was set up okay. You know, if you've got your destination on either side of the road, I feel like you've got a good spot to cross.
There's less streets coming. Such.
Yeah, that whole south side has got no through street coming to you, yeah.
You gotta think about it also, some of these people coming that hold in the housing, they're walking to the walker,
Mhm.
they're not fast walker. So
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of the big flashing, hey, slow down, I'm
Yeah.
taking my time to get across here, so.
Yeah. If it is a little bit longer, that's okay too.
Yeah.
We shouldn't stick to 10 seconds or 15 seconds. You gotta time it, right?
Correct, yeah.
All right, anything else? You're good with it?
So I guess what is the final decision
Good?
or recommendation? Again, I don't think I put anything in there for any language really, just trying to get an idea of,
So we want to plain cherry and box.
yeah.
Yes, you got something in here.
I'll move to recommend adding RRFB signals at Pine, Cherry, or roughly at Pine, Cherry, and Fox Street locations, and elimination of Martin.
Probably elimination of the rest of the crosswalks.
Existing.
Yeah, and removing any
And-
existing
and removing
mid-block.
the other existing.
And we're gonna make sure also all the stoplight they do have.
Yeah, and all the stoplights are getting upgraded, so we'll make sure that's a part of that, yeah.
I'll second that.
Other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it, thank you. A business park phase 2 change order number 1. Michael, did they do pouring for this project before they start?
No, we didn't. We just,
Okay, that they should be done. Anytime there is a pavement replacement, they should pour the pavement to make sure what we estimated is correct. The other thing is, was that 5 inches or 7 inches was through the whole project or just a specific area?
it was at least 5 inches throughout, and then I think at intersections it was,
It's in certain commerce section. And technology drive.
Because some area could be because of heavy traffic, heavy truck. And the 5 inch for that area is not unusual, because how many semi-truck vehicles?
yeah, and we were just using the design drawing for the business park, which showed a typical of 4 inches. So that's what was estimated for. So then when they came back and their mill didn't get through all the asphalt, they're like, well, what do you want us to do? Well, make another pass and get it deep enough, and then, to fill it back in, we had them put base course back in because I guess it just seemed like a more cost effective.
So we didn't wait to the end of project,
No, they did it as it was happening.
just right away.
Yeah.
But I think it should be poured, that blacktop has to be poured, at least more than one places.
Yeah, and we can make sure we do that moving forward.
Yeah. Anything else you wanna add to it?
No, then I guess the other part of that besides the milling depth was just we didn't have a bid item for digging up and replacing valve boxes. We just had it for adjusting. So there were a couple that were broken that needed to be replaced. So That was the other part of it.
Okay, what's your wishes?
I move to recommend the village board approve change order number 1 for the business park north to east phase asphalt paving project for a price of $22,706.76.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Question? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it confused. Item 15, draft of 2025 street maintenance budget.
That's weird.
Um,
Yeah, just kind of a draft plan of all the streets we're looking to, I guess, touch and next year with maintenance activities, whether it be an asphalt overlay or the gilsonite treatment. And I also threw on there kind of what's planned for the repaving and reconstruction next year. So a little bit of a village-wide, try to touch a little bit of, every quadrant so that we're keeping up on our pavement repairs and keeping good pavements good. Talked about that historically, but if we can treat a pavement with a spray or some type of preventative treatment, it helps it the longevity, increase the life of it versus just kind of waiting for it to blow up on us and then we're reacting to it. So try to always balance being proactive with our maintenance versus reactive to then the worser streets out there. So
Oh, Michael, that picture you got in there, I think that's
yep,
the pavement shouldn't get like this at all.
like that one, correct.
It's not acceptable. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
This pavement should be repaired 3 years ago before it turned to this.
yeah, and that was a picture of a street in the springtime when it finally gave loose. And I'm not gonna lie, we have pavements that are probably one bad spring away from looking like that. So that's where the repaving projects come in handy. Is we're trying to get ahead of that, so we are taking care of it. But I could go show you 10, 12 segments of street right now that look like that throughout the village. So
It shouldn't be like that.
they shouldn't be.
Those are should be number 1 to fix.
Well, so that street, if I told you it's what is that, between a quarter and a half mile long and it's got 4 houses on it, does that make a difference versus a Schofield Ave that has thousands of cars a day?
Those people pay tax.
They do,
They are the citizen of this village.
yes.
You should treat them the same thing like you treat everyone.
Yeah, I mean, historically, we've taken the approach of our arterial and our collector streets are priority. And we keep them at a
You're right.
higher standard than the local side street. And a yard of asphalt, a ton of asphalt costs the same whether it has, no matter what street it's on. So it's that balance. I mean, if you look at the map of what we're trying to do,
Yep.
I mean, there's definitely streets on there that unless you live on it, like a Shirley Avenue.
Yep.
You're not driving on Shirley Ave unless you live on Shirley Ave. Shirley Ave looks like that picture, if we have a bad one.
All of it like this.
Most of Shirley, I mean, it's not blown up. You can drive on it, but
What I'm getting at.
yeah,
You can probably take a step to the ocean, of which is the worst.
yeah, yeah,
And then you can do the full job on it to make sure it is taken care of it.
Yep.
Then you can do the rest of the problem.
yeah.
So there is a
Correct.
way to skin that cat
Yep.
more than one way to do it.
Yeah, and if you, so in our patching here, we always have about a $25,000 budget for full depth patching for asphalt streets, which Birch Street south of Quick Trip there, we did that 2 or 3 years ago, kind of by south of Jelnik. There were a few rough patches, so we do where it's all kind of wavy and, you know, we just don't have the ability to go do the whole street necessarily right away. And that's where, you know, we've talked about, in the, we had about an 8-year hiatus of really doing a lot of street work in the village. And that's kind of catching up to us right now. We're doing a good job. We're getting a lot of miles paved, but we went about 8 years where we didn't pave miles of road. So we're trying to catch up and take care of what should have been done historically, plus what we should be doing right now. So, yeah, so we do that. And then, yeah, so if it gets to that point where it is clay busting through the asphalt, we definitely, cut that out and take care of it. But, you know, we do,
We shouldn't get to this.
yeah.
I just can't see that.
Yeah, well, the goal is to always hide that in areas.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like snow plowing. When people say I have the worst road in the village, I generally say, I hope you think you have the worst road in the village. That tells me we're doing a pretty good job everywhere else. You know, just like everyone who says I get plowed last. It just means we're plowing the right roads first. So I guess I try to look at it optimistically there, that, hopefully it means we're taking care of the roads that should be taken care of. But, I mean, Luis's neighborhood looked kind of like that until we got around to reconstructing it. So, you know,
Anything else?
So I see that GSB is on some streets that were just recently built. Is that and
yeah, so the theory with the GSB is to keep supplying the asphalt content back into the pavement, because it'll, the oxidation of UV rays is really, you know, for the most part, our residential streets in particular, they fail because over time the asphalt content just, gets burned out of it, and then it gets brittle and it cracks a lot easier. We don't have the traffic loading, issues with our streets so much as just nature taking its course. So the gilsonite, is just meant to oil, on a regular basis, and, at the cost of doing that, it's pretty cheap compared to, you know, if we do nothing and just pave that road and let it sit, we could probably get 30 to 40 years out of it, and then it'll look like one of those bad roads. But if we can keep, putting that new, sealant in it, it should last well beyond that life.
And then real quick, I know, I haven't been on it in a little bit, but like West Fair and Hilgeman over in that area is getting pretty bad too.
Yep, so this year we have West Fair and Hilgeman on the east side, and then next year we got, Prairie and, West Fair on the west side of Mesker Street. So, yep, yeah, and when we, I don't know, right, wrong, and different, I guess when we reconstruct a street, I try to see what other, you know, maybe patches around it should be. So that's why, like Shirley Ave, you can kind of partner that with Weston Ave there. You know, when Birch Street was redone, we overlaid, Shorey Avenue. And, like, yeah, you know, East Jelnik, and then get the rest of that little horseshoe there taken care of. So, yep.
Other question? All right, next meeting, Monday, October 14th, 2024,
Do we
at
need to
14
move on
p.m.
that? Shane, do we need to move on the last one?
I
It's got
don't
the same
think so.
thing.
I don't think so.
Oh, technical, technical problems.
I mean, unless anybody has questions, I guess that's kind of what we're looking at implementing here in 2025 for next year.
It doesn't help you out at all. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry.
I moved to endorse the 2025 street maintenance plan as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 16, item B, Monday, November 11th, 2024, at 4:30 p.m. And topic for future meeting. I hope you have any.
Not unless you guys add anything.
Remark from the staff? Isaac? Okay.
Happy to be here.
I would just share, I've been sharing at the end of all of the meetings. Remember, we have a vacancy for a trustee position. The information is posted on all of our social media platforms and on the website, but as committee members, you have experience. So please consider or share it with people in the community that you think would have interest.
Remark from committee member?
I'll just bring up, sorry. I'd bring up that, somebody had reached out to me about a issue they have with the culvert, over on Eau Claire Rudolph, and asked me what they should do, and I told them to reach out to Michael and the crew, and they were super, super happy with the quick response they got and the help they got and the friendliness of the staff, so I just wanted to share that.
Great. Thank you.
It's all that guy.
Tom?
Nope. I'm good.
Okay, a call you about the Schofield Avenue for local trade union, those potholes they did,
Thought so. They should have been out patching.
I don't know. Did anybody work on a Schofield Avenue by local trade union?
That shouldn't take care of last week, yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any announcement. I'll set the motion to adjourn at 6:02 PM.
So moved.
Second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, I have it. Thank you very much.